I was 68 years old when my daughter called me from her sleek BMW and told me my house was an embarrassment. I raised Sarah alone from the time she was 8. I worked double shifts at the post office, lived on instant noodles, skipped meals so she could have music lessons and the best education I could afford. I put her through UC Berkeley, then law school. She makes $250,000 a year now, married a hedge fund manager, lives in a gated community in Newport Beach, and she called me last month, looking down her nose, saying my little house in Riverside didn't meet the standards she'd worked so hard to achieve. She wanted me to sell it, move into a senior apartment, something appropriate for my income level. What she didn't know was that house was never truly mine to begin with, and what I did next changed everything. It all started 3 months ago at Sarah's country club, the Worthington Hills Golf and Tennis Club. $15,000 just to join, $800 a month in dues. She'd invited me to her birthday dinner, saying she wanted me to meet her friends. I drove my 2018 Honda Civic with 118,000 miles on it and parked it between a Tesla and a Maserati. The moment I stepped into that dining room, I felt like I didn't belong. "This is my father," Sarah said, gesturing to me. 8 people in designer outfits looked my way, some with polite smiles, most with thinly veiled judgment. Her husband David shook my hand. "Bob, great to finally meet you properly," he said genuinely. The others, they glanced at my Walmart polo like it was contagious. "So, what do you do, Bob?" asked a woman with a Chanel purse I could never afford. "I'm retired from the Postal Service," I said. Silence. 4 seconds exactly. "Oh, how nice," she said, then turned away. Sarah jumped in. "Dad's very modest about his achievements," she said a little too quickly. Then she changed the subject to someone's yacht purchase. I watched my daughter that night, really watched her. Every laugh, every smile, every gesture performed, borrowed from the people she thought were better than her. After dinner, she walked me to my car. That's when she said it. "Dad, I love you, but we need to talk about expectations." "What kind of expectations?" I asked. "My colleagues, my career, image matters," she said. She gestured at my car. "When you come to events like this, it sends a message." "What message is that?" I asked. "That I come from this," she said, like my existence itself was a stain. I drove home in silence, not angry yet, just hurt. The real anger came 2 weeks later when I discovered what she'd been telling people. Maria Santos, my neighbor for 15 years, asked about Sarah. She'd seen a Facebook post from one of Sarah's friends thanking Sarah's family friend Bob for joining them at the club. Family friend. Not father, not parent. Family friend. I opened Facebook that night, which I rarely do. Scrolled through months of posts about Sarah's perfect life. Amazing husband, dream home, fabulous friends. Not one photo of us together, but plenty with David's father, the oil executive, the man who gave David a trust fund and a BMW for his 16th birthday. She'd adopted a new family history, one that looked perfect on Instagram. The breaking point came at David's company Christmas party. Sarah called me that morning. "Dad, there's a change of plans," she said, professional, distant. "What about?" I asked. "Our family is concerned about your living situation," she said. I muted the TV. Concerned about what? "Whether your lifestyle is sustainable, whether it reflects well on our family," she said, carefully. I felt my stomach drop. "Our family?" I asked, incredulous. "Yes, your current home, your car, your neighborhood, they affect my credibility." "Credibility?" I asked. "Yes, appearances matter. Status matters. Your life suggests you settled for less." The cold in my stomach became ice. I began recording the call. Something told me I might need this later. She went on, "I want you to sell the house, move into something appropriate, something I can be proud of." I stared at the photos on my walls, at the furniture I bought piece by piece, at the life I built alone after her mother left, and I knew in that moment that the daughter I raised was gone. The documents in my safe were more than papers. They were proof of everything. The trust fund, the money that had funded her education, her wedding, her car, every dollar accounted for, and now I had a choice. The next morning, I called our family attorney, Elena Rodriguez, explained everything. She was quiet for a moment. Then, "Bob, this is legally binding. You have grounds to enforce the forfeiture clause." I spent the next 48 hours combing through 30 years of financial records, bank statements, mortgage payments, every transaction verified, every sacrifice documented. On October 22nd, I signed the documents. Every penny of the trust fund, $700,000 in today's value, donated to the Children's Cancer Research Foundation. The house's equity, the trust money, all gone. I recorded a video statement for the charity. Calm, steady. The same voice I'd used to read bedtime stories to Sarah when she was 8. My name is Robert Martinez. For 23 years, I used money from a trust fund to provide for my daughter Sarah. Money her mother left with one condition: she must never disrespect the man who raised her. Yesterday, she called me an embarrassment. The charity received the donation within hours. The next morning, certified mail arrived at Sarah's Newport Beach address. Her call came at 3:15 p.m. "Dad, what the hell is this?" Her composure was gone, replaced with raw panic. I explained everything. Every achievement she thought was hers, every success she'd built her status on, funded by a trust she had never earned. She sobbed, real, unrestrained sobs. "You've destroyed my future," she said. "No, Sarah. I revealed your foundation wasn't as solid as you thought." She arrived at my house at 6 a.m., still in disarray, engine running, makeup smeared. "Dad, we need to fix this." "There's nothing to fix," I said. $700,000 is gone. Returned to where it belongs. Her desperation shifted to anger. "Fine, I'll fight you in court." "The trust document is ironclad," I said. She left, slamming the door. The Facebook post went up that evening. Sarah painted me as deluded, as a man incapable of managing his finances. Comments poured in, all sympathy for her, concern for me. I didn't respond, because the truth was already set in motion. The next morning, the house was quiet, almost eerie. I poured myself a cup of coffee and stared at the documents on the kitchen table. Every signature, every number, every clause, a lifetime of sacrifices, now repurposed to help children fighting cancer. I didn't know what Sarah would do next. I only knew one thing. She had never expected consequences, and I had finally given them. Confrontation at the family meeting. 2 weeks later, I received an email from my sister, Lisa. "Bob, we need to talk. Sarah called everyone saying you've done something shocking. Can we meet tomorrow?" I agreed. We met at a quiet cafe in Riverside. Lisa's eyes were full of worry, but also disbelief. "What did you do?" she asked cautiously. "I enforced the trust's clause," I said, taking a sip of my coffee. "The $700,000 is gone, donated to charity." She gasped. She will never forgive you." "I don't need forgiveness. I just needed her to understand that actions have consequences." Lisa shook her head. "Bob, you're ruthless." "Ruthless?" I repeated. "No, I'm finally honest. That's all." By that evening, Sarah's posts had gone viral. Headlines, comments, whispers in Newport Beach. She was furious, embarrassed, and desperate to control the narrative. Her husband, David, called me later that night, his voice calm but firm. "Dad, I understand why you did this, but Sarah, she's spiraling. Be careful." "I've been careful all my life. She just didn't notice." David didn't argue. He knew the truth. 3 days later, an envelope arrived at my door, this time from Sarah's mother in Paris. Inside was a handwritten note. "Bob, I always knew she'd test you. I never imagined she'd forget everything you've done. Good for you." And a small photograph of young Sarah, 8 years old, sitting on my lap, smiling up at me. The kind of smile that could melt the hardest heart. I pinned it to my fridge. The memory reminded me why I did what I did. Sarah's reckoning. It was a Tuesday when Sarah finally showed up at my front gate. She didn't call first. She didn't knock politely. She just arrived, a storm of fury and shame in her designer clothes. I can't believe you," she screamed. "You destroyed my life." I stood at the door, calm. "I didn't destroy your life, Sarah. I just exposed the foundation you built your life on, a foundation that wasn't yours to begin with." She froze. The truth hit her like a hammer. You, all those years," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, all those years," I said. "I sacrificed everything for you, and you treated it like nothing." Her husband arrived behind her, silent. He didn't need words. He'd seen it all. Sarah sank to the steps, her head in her hands. I waited. For the first time in years, she was silent. No pretenses, no fake smiles, no judgmental glances. Finally, she looked up, her eyes red, filled with regret. I don't know how to fix this," she said, her voice trembling. "You can start by respecting the people who love you and understanding that money, status, and appearances are nothing without gratitude." For the first time in her life, she listened. The following months were quiet. Sarah didn't post about me on social media. She stopped talking about appearances. She began to volunteer at the Children's Cancer Research Foundation, the same place her trust fund had gone. I watched her from my little house in Riverside, my heart heavy but proud. She was finally learning what I had always tried to teach her, that life isn't about money or status or who you impress. It's about love, sacrifice, and integrity. And as for me, I finally felt at peace, not because of the money I lost, not because of the confrontation, but because I finally knew my daughter understood the value of what I had given her, even if it came the hard way. Some sacrifices go unseen. Some deeds go unappreciated until the moment life demands truth. And that's when you find out who your real family is. If you've ever sacrificed everything for someone who didn't appreciate it, hit like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories that reveal the real value of love, integrity, and truth.